For this and the next few hunts, I'm going to be using Nosler Varmageddon 90 grain bullets loaded by custom reloads of Dallas. They're chronographed out of my rifle at 2,740 feet per second, with the ballistic coefficient that I'm going to assume is close to that of the Spear TNT, but right now Nosler has them listed as to be determined on the ballistic coefficient. Carp, a Sus one hunting up in North Texas, returning to a property where previously we've taken several hogs. Arrived on property, hogs were present in the winter wheat, and just as quickly they disappeared back into a natural area of the property that hasn't been cultivated. So I went looking for them, and to my surprise, an entire sounder was headed in my direction. So I got stopped underneath a tree. I'm going to take this sow right here. And this next hog, I anticipate it's going to run to the right. It runs to the left, and so that shot hits dirt. And my wounded sow winds her way through the woods, drops right there, and I put a finishing shot into her to make sure she stays down, and all the rest of the hogs are gone. I don't get to see this happen too often here. I've walked up on my downed sow, and the sounder has returned. And I'm in a terrible position in order to take a shot at any of these hogs because I've got all these small trees in the way, and the hogs are moving from right to left, and the dark shape that you see there in the background is going to be one of the landowner's barns or outbuildings, and so I don't have a shot at this point. I go to look at the hogs on my handheld to see what's ahead of them, see when I would have a shot, and just that quickly they disappeared on me. So I ended up with this 155-pound sow.
Brass catcher by Tactical Brass Recovery.
So I went ahead and cut open the sow, did an H-cut on her, peeled back the skin on the side, revealing a lot of damage to the scapula with a big hole going into the side. In fact, it had about a racquetball size hole going through the scapula and about a golf ball size hole going into the thoracic cavity, breaking out 3 ribs. Here are some additional observations that I made in the field. The bullet went into the chest cavity, damaging both sets of lungs, damaging the heart. Only 2 fragments recovered. It did not exit the opposite side rib cage. Despite extensive searching with a metal detector, I was only able to recover 2 fragments, totaling 5.2 grains of the original 90 grain bullet. What's important to note is that it entered the chest cavity and expanded immediately and violently, apparently breaking into multiple fragments, going through both the scapula and ribs, and then damaging organs inside the chest cavity, at which point the fragments lost momentum and did not exit the chest cavity. When I peel back the skin along the second shot, this is what poured out of the side of the hog through a large hole. I don't know if this is the entry or if this is the exit. Either way, I'm not looking through that, and we're going to move on. At my next property, I was about 15 minutes into my hunt at this point, playing peekaboo with a hog that's over on the neighbor's property. That's that little dot that you see right there. It is down in a low area from where I am, way out there at about 260 yards. I'm just getting little glimpses of it as it moves up on the high areas such as that you see right here. And now it's headed down towards the pond. I've now moved down from my high spot in order to get closer to the hog. Here I'm watching it as it's making its way around the pond, doing a good bit of rooting as it goes. I'm uncertain if I have access to hunt the area of the pond, so I'm going to wait and see if it'll come out into the field, either on my side of the fence where I am now, or off to the left into the winter wheat. Finally, after about 25 minutes in the pond area, the hog is moving towards the winter wheat that you see there. It's taking its time, it's doing a little rooting along the way, and I'm just set up waiting for it to cross the fence. It's not in any hurry, but here he comes. So at this point I'm going to go ahead and nuke my scope one more time in order to get the best image possible for when the hog emerges. And he's just coming under the fence right now, into the winter wheat, and he's fair game. Alright, here we go. And that's the kind of shot I like to see. The hog was still moving around a bit as I walked up, so I went ahead and gave it a finishing shot. The boar came in at 175 pounds, and unlike with the sow, the entry of the bullet did not produce a great big giant wound immediately underneath the skin.
The bullet entered the left side, forward of the scapula, after all. Crossed the thoracic cavity, entering at the first thoracic rib and last cervical vertebrae, breaking the vertebrae at that point. Portions of the bullet came through to the opposite side where they embedded themselves in the scapula. There are pieces embedded in the vertebrae that cannot be recovered.
The takeaway from all of this is that basically the bullet entered, expanded, fragmented very quickly, had trouble penetrating bone, didn't penetrate all that far, with just less than 6 inches of penetration overall. So far it looks like this bullet's going to penetrate well enough to reach vital organs with a broadside shot, but is not going to overpenetrate in most cases. Carpe sus, my friends.